Hey folks, welcome back to the farm today. Well, I'm going for a pig marathon. Stick around and see how I get on. Right, today is either going to go wonderfully or just instant regret. I'm going to try and move the pigs on foot. See if I can cross here. Not that we'll be able to come back this route. With no bridge yet, this is as good as it gets. Oh look, there's a wheel down there. I wonder if that would happen to fit my chicken trailer. Is that a tyre? It's a wheel. Right, that's for another day. This is as much of a bridge as I've got. No slip for you to laugh at. So we're up. I can smell fox this morning. Hopefully looking for rabbits, not chickens. So we're in the secret meadow where the pigs have been, as you might have seen in a recent video. And it's the end of the season for them. It becomes a bit boggy over here and freak rain could cut them off from us. So it's time to bring them up, but for more than one reason. One is so they don't float away down the Severn, but also we have piglets on the way. So we need to get them in somewhere drier and more suitable. But at the moment, my livestock trailer is actually housing chickens, like most buildings and structures on the farm. And therefore, I can't drive over here to pick them up. I'm going to attempt to walk them. So we've already got an escapee up there. But if I can get them to walk, follow me down all the way to the crossing. Pigs being pigs, they shouldn't be too worried about going through water. And then I've just got 2 fields, a yard and a barn to get them in. I find it interesting, the sows have a lot of respect for the electric fence. Pigs in general are pretty good, but after what's 3 or 4 days now of no electric on it, the younger one, who's more testing, she's managed to get out. I mean, she takes herself in and out, but you can see here, what are we below? An alder tree and hornbeam or something, whatever's below these trees. She's had a good roost trample. And a little bit over here, she's obviously going for certain areas. Anyway, let's go find some pigs. Well, that was more successful than I thought. Now we've just got about 500 or 600 meters. We'll be done. Cup of tea. Come on then. So this is the only one I'm not sure. I thought they were all in pig, but maybe she's just a bit behind. She's definitely bagging up, as is Lavender. Just hope you're not freeloading. How good does that look? That makes it worth it, doesn't it? That's what pigs should look like. Waddling along in the open in the grass, not cooped up in a dark barn. They don't need acres and acres to run around, but it does just look right when they're out in the open. Unless you've got big ears and then you walk into things. Alright, so this will be interesting. See if we can get them through water. It's gone too well so far. They're going to turn back, aren't they? Come on. Good girl. She's going to be a lovely pig, this one. No, you're not going to come down there, are you? Come on, girls. This way. Hey, honey. Alright, it's like horse trials, cross country. Never doubted you. Come on, girls. That's enough now. No, so you're not having the food yet. Come on, girls. Silly. Look, her teats are so saggy, they're just hitting the water. She didn't like it. Good girl. No, we're not feeding yet. Not yet. Just wait. Come on, Tills. Good girl. Well done. Good girl. No. Right. snack time. Half a bucket to get 4 pigs up through 3 fields. I've got a ration. So unlike the sheep and cows where you would get them scanned, we don't really bother with pigs. It's such a quick gestation. You can normally tell fairly soon. It's fairly reliable. So it's easy enough once they're about 10 days off, maybe a week off, to tell how many days off you are as they're starting to bag up underneath. They get a bit of a belly, but it's quite easy for them to hide the belly. So that's why I'm a bit concerned that Miss Honey at the back here, she's such a big pig, that whether she is pregnant or not. Come, 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 come. Take it easy, old girl. Long way. Well, look at that. This is why we need pigs on the farm. Just so sensible. Unless they go down the track. Come! Come on! Miss Honey! I haven't really thought this bit through. There's 4 pigs up there. We only really need 2 up there. We'll put them all in. Pause for a day and then I can sort out the arcs. We all here? Miss Honey, come on! Lost one. Come on! Come on, up here! She's a good pig, this girl. No, not in there. Not in there. Come, come. Come on. It's going too well so far. 50 metres to go. Come on. Miss Honey. Oh, we've got to have them all. It's all or none. Miss Honey. Good girl. Come on. Come on. Come on. Here. No, here. Here. Oh, I need to take a bow. I think that took less than 15 minutes. I can't move a dog that quick. Well, I could, but not when she's just had puppies. Look at that, they're all in. Oh, it's even too early for a cup of tea. So, God, they're big, aren't they? So Matilda is going to be first. She's in the middle there. She's going to be on one side. The other 2 can be on the other side until I work out just who is doing what. And then, in all likelihood, well, Amber can go down to the pen. And we just need to work out if Miss Honey here is going to have any squidglets or not. I'll try and show you on Matilda, although she's old and saggy. What you get is not the actual milk teats swelling up, but there's sort of a band above it, which is the first bit that starts to swell, and that's always a giveaway. So here, just up from the teats, it's kind of across the top, and you end up with a bit of a bar, milk bar. So I'd say she's at least a week off. Matilda could be a bit less, but I'm just not seeing. Not seeing any of that on the others. Right, let's try and open up this pen. Right, Right, well, we're 50% of the way there. Tilly's obviously looking to make a nest already. There's a bit too much straw in here. Need to limit that so we don't get any piglet squishing. This girl needs to come out. Right, it's definitely time for a cup of tea. I'm going to leave these girls here. We can sort out what we're doing on this trio. Bring out some troughs, something that they can't tip over, which is almost like the Holy Grail. I'm not going to bring the concrete ones up, but we'll find a way and then see how we get on next week. Careful. Good girl. Oh, how did all these sneak out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, you sat on one. That's a big one as well. Yeah, daft pig. Oh. Right, let's get you lot out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 10. Good girl. Yeah, we thought they were closer than they were, but it seems like our estimates were a little bit off. And Lavender has overtaken Matilda, so I've just come up and found that she'd had 10. She's crushed one. But she's had 9 piglets back here. They're all looking healthy. One little runty one we keep an eye on. I might put a bar across the back, but she's a very good mum, so I don't think we're going to have too many issues. Just going to clean up a little bit, get some new bedding down there. No heat lamp. We're going to trust in nature here, but plenty of straw, and she's in the shelter here. You're a good mum, aren't you? As long as you go down gentle. So it's just started raining so heavily that I'm not going to go up to the barn and show you the piglets just now, but I thought I'd give you a bit of an update on how things went. So you got to the point of seeing that we had our litter of piglets. So there was 9 live piglets in Lavender's litter, which is a good number. They all thrive at that sort of number. There's no real runty ones, and there's plenty of milk to go around. So that's a good success story. Now, Matilda, not so much. So she must have had them probably in the early hours of the morning, a few days after Lavender, and unfortunately she'd done very similar thing to what she has done previously, which is either through laziness or just not being quite as aware anymore in her old age. She was tight into the corner, so her back end was against the side, and as the piglets come out, they really need a bit of space to be able to break free of the sack and then sort of wriggle around and crawl around to feed. And of course, if one just it comes out and it's stuck there against the wall or the gate or whatever it might be, then unfortunately they quite often can't get out of the bag. So unless you happen to be there in that very moment within 20-30 seconds to help break it and whatever, often they perish and you end up finding a dead piglet sort of just there in the bag. And that happens with sheep. It happens all the time. Well, not all the time, but it does happen, and it is relatively unavoidable. But then of course that can compound and you can end up with another piglet born, and if there's not much space for that piglet, and the same thing can happen. And unfortunately, because pigs aren't particularly maternal, they don't turn around, lick them or clean and that sort of thing and stimulate them. They tend to just rely on the instinct of the piglet to kind of sort itself out and crawl around and find milk. They must have, that can only be what happened. And in the past I have been there, and I think I've even got some footage of being there when she did it back in February, and I was able to see on the camera, ran down whenever it was, 1 o'clock in the morning, and as the piglets were born I was able to reach down and swing them out, clean them up, get them going and get them feeding, and that worked. But in this instance we weren't there. We can't be there every minute of every hour every day, and unfortunately there were 6 piglets dead. So I don't think they'd been sort of sat on or laid down on as such. Maybe one of them might have been, and sometimes you get stillborn piglets as well, but unfortunately there was only 2 live piglets from her litter of what would have been 8, I guess, and that's really sad. It's really disappointing, and it probably does signal the end of Matilda being a breeding sow in our herd here. She's 6 years old now. She's had plenty of litters. She's been sort of the matriarch of our herd and taught us a lot of lessons. She's a really nice pig to have around. However, it doesn't seem right to... Well, we thought 2 litters ago that might be her last one, and then we did breed her again, and she had a really successful litter of 8 or 9 last time, and we thought that's good enough for her to have another litter, maybe 1 a year. But I feel like it's now time to retire her. Now, for the time being, what I've done is I've taken the fencing between the 2 sows away. So the actual cow gate is still there. So the bars are about this far apart. But the mesh I had there, I've taken out. So that means that the piglets can run between the sows, because I thought Matilda's got enough milk, she may as well feed as well. In actual fact, what's happened is Matilda started to dry up a bit anyway. So those 2 piglets tend to be hanging out with the others. What I didn't want on colder evenings, colder nights, is for those 2 piglets to not be in a mass of piglets keeping warm. When there's a good number, you don't really need the heat lamp, and they all sit up against the belly of the mum and keep warm, and there's plenty of straw. So it's almost like Lavender's adopted those 2 on, which is fine, but the piglets have got both to run between at the moment anyway. But the next question is, what does that mean for Matilda? And it means the end of her breeding career, but I don't think it means the end of her on the farm, because I know it's not particularly farmy of me, but I'm a bit soft when it comes to the pigs. And because there are breeding pigs, the 4 that we've got, they get names. They're long-term residents, and they're a smaller number, so you get to know them a bit, and pigs have characters, perhaps more so than sheep. So with the sheep, when our girls get old, or they get mastitis 1 year, or something, there's a reason for them to be culled out. I know they've had a really long, good life here, and while no sort of culling of an animal or harvesting of an animal is a nice thing to kind of look forward to, I know that that's a good and respectful life that they've had out there. And when you look at a flock of sheep, yes, we have favourites, and you do know some of the characters, but they're not named, our sheep, whereas the pigs are. So I don't know. The problem is keeping a sheep or a goat or something on as a farm pet, farm mascot, is not that costly. Whereas pigs, the pigs, it's hundreds of pounds a year to feed them. So I don't know. Tell me if I'm being soft. Maybe it's because she was our first pig. We had a couple of piglets before her. Well, only a week or 2 before her. But she was our first sow, and most cull sows are sent to market, sold as cull sows, which I definitely don't want to do, because I think it's unnecessary stress for her. But equally, there is amazing quality of meat that is on a sow still, and yes, it might be more sausage meat than prime pork. There is that aspect of it as well. And I think out of our breeding sows, there is definitely 1 or 2 which I don't think I would feel quite the same way about. But Matilda, I think she might be sticking around, certainly for the time being. Anyway, there is the update on the pigs. I'm going to leave them for another week up in the Dutch barn, and then I'm going to be moving them outside and let the piglets have a good run around. Of course, we are up off the flood meadows now, so they'll be down in the pig pens, which is where they'll be for the winter. I've also built a bit of a hard standing in there, which you might have seen over on the other channel when we did the track. That will at some point become a bit of a handling area for the livestock, but for the time being, it means the pig arks can be up there dry all winter and bedded up with straw. And these piglets are probably, I'm going to go through the gilts, so the females in there and the boars, just make sure that if there are any particularly special ones that meet breeding standard that we might want to register, we'll do that. Otherwise, we've got a bit of a waiting list for piglets, weaners, so people who want them at 8 weeks old. So we'll be doing that. And then the good news is, in some respects, when we brought the pigs over, I realised after a week that Miss Honey, who is the one that had the monster litter last year, she isn't in pig. So Bruce must have missed. He had only had a 3-week window, so maybe something didn't time up. But that's a really good thing, because everyone wants piglets in the spring, and we always mess up our timings, as I've mentioned before. So the nice thing is now I can get her in pig ready for a spring litter when Bruce comes back to us. So we'll have a spring litter, and then Amber, our new gilt, she will be able to be put in pig in sort of January, February. So we'll have a summer litter as well. So we'll actually have them spaced out. So bit of a blessing in disguise, because we thought we were going to have 3 huge litters now and a glut of piglets. In actual fact, we've ended up with essentially 1 sensible sized litter, and then we're now able to have a litter in the springtime. So, you know, sometimes things work out and sometimes things don't. Right, I'm going to leave it there. That's enough pigs for one day. I'll leave you with a nice little montage of these piglets playing up in the barn. They're already scampering around the yard and up on the driveway, but I'll do that when the rain stops. But if you want to see more piglet stuff, I've got a playlist, so I'll leave a link to that at the end of this one. See you next time.